Yo, what is up, man? It has been a couple weeks. I hope you guys had a great Independence Day, July 4th, however you want to go about and call it. You know, just depending on where you're at. But most importantly, I hope you had a good one. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking a little bit about what happened to USA versus Romania. And what does that mean for the new rollout that Scott Lawerence has put out called Project Moonshot 2031. Also, we're going to take a look at what has been going on with the Olympics. Yo, we got rosters, we got pools, and we got a competition really panning out. Also, MLR is bringing their championships down to San Diego, and they got a new musical guest that I think might be changing the game as to how MLR presents their championship game. And of course, we got perfect controversy in body positivity, but in a way that we can't even begin to decompress, separate. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try, because this is Rugby Swag Show with Gift Bailu. Man, yo, let's get that intro going on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are now tuned in to the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time.
Welcome to the Rugby Swag Show. Yo, welcome. Like I said, my name is Gift Bailu. This is Rugby Swag. This is a show where we talk to people about the opportunity they found, created, or taken advantage of via rugby, as well as the stories that are changing and impacting rugby on a week-to-week basis. Y'all, man, this has been a very interesting week. We had a really interesting weekend this past weekend with all these games. Obviously, as a USA fan or a Canada fan, really North America, really the Americas in general, wasn't a really great rugby weekend for us. Between the USA, Canada, Chile, and Argentina, just wasn't panning out for us all that well. But you know what? It's not all over yet. It's not all over yet. But before we start getting into all of that, man, I need you guys to please go ahead. And as I truly appreciate it, if you guys could go ahead and like, subscribe. And if you can, leave a comment on the page. We want to be able to have the conversation. This is all about the engagement as much as it is about the presentation. And I want to make sure that you are as engaged as you should be in this rugby news cycle that is on a constant bit, and one that we've been a little bit behind on. But look, y'all, you guys can also talk to us on our social medias. You can find us at Rugby Swag Show on X at Giftebelu, GIFTEGBELU, or you can find us on any other platform at Gift Time Rugby, GIFTTIME RUGBY. That is on Facebook, that is on TikTok, that is on Twitch, and of course right here on YouTube. Now, if you have friends that are not always going to be able to sit down and just watch or be able to put it onto YouTube, y'all, I want to thank you guys, because we got other options. Please let them know that we got them on any of the audio streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and a slew of others that are available to them, because we want to make sure that we have a platform for all types of participants in this rugby news era that is going on, as we are just so around in the midst of like one of the hottest, not temperature-wise, but action-wise, rugby summers. I feel one of the most impactful ones that we could get. So, yo, I love that you guys are here. Also, I want to say thank you to everybody who has watched the videos, been able to pay attention, whoever is able to comment and engage. It means the most. It allows us to be able to grow, allows us to be able to do more things, and open up more and more opportunities to be able to just interact with this sport in a different way. And even more importantly, it allows us to be able to bring in the casuals, so that they can be able to be informed and know what's going on, so we can have the conversation like it's nothing. Not everything is just about the field, but not just being off the field is not the most important thing either. So we want to make sure that we can carry, I'm not going to say a healthy balance, but at least an inference on all of it, so that there is a place for everybody to be in touch with this rugby world. But y'all, before we get it started, obviously we want to get to those people who help us, man. On our first story, man, I really want to talk about what MLR is doing right now and what is going to be making a change in terms of how they present their most important game to bring the most casual fans together, which is their championship game. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but right after we get done talking to those who support us, we'll be right back. This is Gifte Belu with Rugby Swag Show. Stay tuned.
I'm going to let you get back to the show in a moment, but I want to talk to you about our sponsors, Health Enhanced Foods, the best specialty flours in the business. What does that mean for you? That is the flours that allow you to be able to get the nutritious need from your bread make. That's muffins, bread, croissants, whatever, pancakes and muffins. It will give you the opportunity to be able to get the best while still being able to eat like you wanted to. We have various amounts of products available for those who have special dietary needs to those who are looking for a special health outcome. And of course, because they're part of the Rugby Swag Show, we want to let you know that you got a chance to go to healthenhancedfoods.com and use code Rugby Swag to be able to get 20% off your first order. Y'all, this is something that you're going to need. You got to build up, have your energy at the best, be the maximum. It's 2024. Let's do the best. But now, I want you guys to get into it. Let's get back to the show.
Yo, let's get into this now. All right, first story of the day, man. MLR Championships happening August 4th. We got about 3 weeks. Right now, the playoffs have been set. You know, we got the teams. It is the Houston SaberCats. It is actually, let me just make sure I look these up because I don't want to say them all wrong because I would sound like a dickhead if I do, because it be like that right now. It be like that right now. All right. So the teams that will be participating is Houston, Dallas, Seattle, San Diego, New England Free Jacks, DC Old Glory, NOLA Gold, and Chicago. Pounds. Chicago, another dog name. Anyways, but most importantly, we got 2 weeks until about two and a half weeks until the August 4th championship games. And honestly, I think I remember whenever they first announced it, where it was like, they're going to give 2 weeks of break between the end of the season and then the knockout rounds, and then another 2 weeks until the games itself on August 4th. But then I remember that the Olympics happened, and honestly, that's probably in their favor that, oh no, they're going to be right smack dab in the middle. So no, they still suck at it. Still sucks a little bit, but at least the first round is going to be improved, and then the second round will be a clash between the the Olympics and MLR playoff games. But whatever. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the championship game happening at Snapdragon Stadium, because I thought one of the biggest news that they brought was that they were going to be presenting DJ Marshmello onto the field. Now, if you guys don't know who DJ Marshmello is, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know either. But I'm also not a raver. I'm not really let me go out to an outdoor concert, jam it out like that. It's just not my dig. But he is a huge DJ who does a lot of those techno, electro, super concerts where everybody goes dunka, 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 and then they are sitting up on the stage and make up stuff right on the stage. Anyways, look, for what it's worth, the dude's got a bunch of followers. All right. Dude's got a bunch of followers. Dude's got a huge fan base, has a huge following, which means that this was also an entailment that the MLR actually decided to invest in entertainment. Now, if you guys remember last year, MLR had the opportunity to bring in Shaq as a DJ for the championship game in Chicago, which I thought was great. Like, that's a really smart move. Like, you want to be able to bring in people who have huge influences. Now, I don't know how much Shaq promoted out the championship in his doing the DJ work, and I hope that they have at least something in the contract where DJ Marshmello will promote it out on his social media, because the real value of him is his reach, not so much his music that is going to just be a recreation of other people's music going over and over and over again. But for those of you who are massive ravers and who like to go out to the major concerts, this is something. This is at least something there for it. And I think it really speaks volumes to at least MLR trying to make an attempt to be more entertaining, which is huge for this, because even though you might not be great to be able to do every game, obviously the individual games are a little bit more weighted on the teams and the home team stadiums that they are being played at, and that there's additional costs that you can only do so much because most of the teams don't own their stadium, and hence they have to upfront pay for the rental of them. And if you make any major changes or you're not prepared for it, it can be very, very costly to be able to add that thing in. But your championship game, you're scheduling that at least a year in advance. All right. Now they're doing it a little bit more in advance. This is the opportunity where you bring in the most casual fans. The reason why the Super Bowl is so big is because it is the one game that everybody, whether you're a casual or whether you are a hardcore fan, can come together and watch it, because you have, for the casual, the least amount of thinking that you have to do. And of course, the commercials have been a component of it, and the entertainment value has been an component of it. And it allows everybody to kind of come together and be able to, like, you know, figure out what you want to do. Like, figure out, okay, this is who I root for, this isn't. And it becomes an entry point for the season afterwards. For the MLR, your championship game has to be huge. If they have an additional component where they're going to be on main channel Fox, so that is another one that is a big deal for them. They've been on FS1, FS2 forever. If you don't have a specific cable package, you almost are never going to see it. But on Fox, on legit network real estate, even though not everybody watches network TV, but that means it's also available on streaming, and it's also sports, so you're actually able to have eyes on it. You have to bring your best game. And I hope that what they do with DJ Marshmello, especially during the broadcast, is able to fuel the audience with the energy needed to keep this on. Whoever ends up being, go Nola, the finalists, Nola and Sabercat, I'm hoping it goes into that one. But whoever ends up being in the finalists, they're going to be the faces for another casual generation. And you need to have the music behind it to be able to make it all worth it in the end. Like, that's the one part that we still in rugby. I mean, you know, NRL gets it done pretty well, but in rugby union, it is entirely far more difficult to get that fullness. I think at least this year, from competition to at least early presentation, the top 14 championships, fire. The European Cup, fire. You know, like, they did a good job, but it's finally bringing that entertainment value in. And of course, now we have the brackets. You can build the storyline. So whatever happens at the end, you have your storyline, you have your team, and you have the music behind it, and the entertainment value, and hopefully the marketing reach of DJ Marshmello's following is able to cultivate an audience that's strong for not just the MLR, but for Fox. Because this is one of those opportunities where if you don't get that, honestly, one on the Nielsen rating, which is somewhere around 100,000 people, if you don't get at least a 1, like, it's going to be very difficult for them to want to, you know, put more rugby games on. Like, you have to be able to garner that reach, and that's how that network deal will start to kick in. Like, you know, the NBA just finalized their contract. Yo, there's still money on the table for live sports. You need it. So MLR, this is their opportunity. I love the fact of what they're doing with DJ Marshmello. So let me know what you guys think about this one. If you guys know DJ Marshmello or listen to his sets or whatever like that, let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is a good plan, or do you feel like the MLR is still kind of trying too hard, still kind of missing the mark on it, and trying to be able to figure out what is that next move to take it over the top? But I want to hear from you. You guys can absolutely comment during the stream. If you guys are listening on podcast, please go ahead and hit us up either on YouTube or hit us up on social media, man. We're going to start trying to do better on dropping the individual clips on these so you can have a little bit more interaction, and I can at least get a little bit more spread out, because I don't think a lot of people always realize how much we get to talk and how much we're doing these things. And thank you for everyone who pays attention to them on the live. But all right, y'all, we're going to be right back. We're going to get to a commercial. We're going to talk a little bit about what is going on with this really controversial body positive movement, including some Olympic rugby players. Guys, stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
Buckwheat is changing lives. My name is Gift Belu. I'm here with Health Enhanced Foods, and I want to tell you about one of my favorite products on our shelves, buckwheat baking mix. Buckwheat is a seed that is incredibly nutrient and protein dense. But what makes it even more important, that buckwheat baking mix is absolutely gluten-free. A lot of times whenever people have buckwheat mixes, they actually even hold wheat inside of it. So you know it's not fully gluten. And if you're a person that is celiac or diabetic, or you're just really trying to be health conscious, it's not something that you want to have to worry about. What makes our buckwheat baking mix even more important is that it is versatile. You can use it for pancakes. You can use it for waffles. You can use it for making loaves of bread. You can make it for cupcakes. But what helps even more is that it is allergen free. It is nut free. It is dairy free. That there is no additional additives in it. There's no leavening there, so that if you want to be able to raise your bread, you can put in the baking powder yourself and get it fluffy. If you don't, you absolutely do not have to. You get the bread that you love without the cost to your health. You can absolutely find buckwheat baking mix at healthenhancedfoods.com. Absolutely check it out. Get your nostalgia back. Get back to eating and loving the way that you are, and absolutely get back to the energy that you know that you can get without having to destroy yourself. I'm looking forward to seeing you get it. Let's go.
All right, come back. All right, our next story of the day. Look, man, Great Britain rugby players part of a controversial body positivity campaign. Now, what does this actually mean? What does this fully mean? Well, this one I thought was actually quite an interesting story when it all comes down to it, because I felt this was one of those things where we've seen it before, but is it like getting played? But before we get into that question, let me kind of put some context to it. Jasmine Joyce, Ellie Boatman, and Quanisha Amy, Celia Quansah, who are all part of the Great Britain Olympic rugby team. Actually, Celia Quansah was not able to make that team yet. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But they were able to come out, and they wanted to do a body positivity campaign for the company Blue Bella Lingerie. All right. This one I think was interesting because, again, this isn't something that we haven't seen before, but it seemed to not have the reaction that we've seen in the past. All right. We didn't see it. And typically whenever we would have these campaigns, it would come, obviously, women strong, empowerment, can be two things at the same time. We're not limited to any one type of body, yada, 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 yada. But one viewer, Nicole Lampert, at Nicole Lampert on X, really kind of put into a consistency, like there's a new, talking about feeling the campaign. And she said, there's a new campaign to get teenage girls into sport called #StrongIsBeautiful. It's been kicked off by teen Green Bay rugby players posing in lingerie. Feels really regressive and sexist to me. Maybe I'm old. And I thought this was interesting because of the fact that in the past, we have always seen this, whether it's been used for calendars, whether it's been used for commercials. Obviously, Victoria's Secret is very well known for, especially lately, for their body positivity usage and utilizing lingerie. We've seen it for the naked calendars, for Great Britain, for England itself, for Scotland, for different teams, even locally, we see these happen from time to time, especially with women. But it almost feels like there might be a bit of a tiredness that's coming with it. Now, obviously, for me, I believe that there's always a place to be able to, show, especially with rugby, where there's a lot of stereotypes on how women are. I think we know for the USA, Ileana Marr is incredibly well known for her TikTok being almost not exclusively, but strongly about her journey being more body positive about herself and the way that people have always reacted to her in it. So you have a situation where you do have these women who are actually trying to push a proper agenda. But again, does it get tired? Let's look at the video that they have for this one. I think it might add some context to what was being said for this. Simple. Hopefully I don't get flagged by YouTube on this one too bad, but a very, very simple concept. And it's like, okay, I get it. There's no shame. Show off, especially whenever there is so many people that literally on the internet go hard against women. Again, I've seen the comment on the Leonas. Like, people like are kind of really ruthless about it. Like, I know to some extent it's probably trolling, and so they're trying to go over the top, but at the same time, you know, it's for what? What are we going this hard for? But again, like I said, I felt like there was a lot more backlash on this one from both sides. So hold on, I want to look down some of these comments, and you let me know what you guys think about this one as well too. Average Rugger, no worries, I'm gonna get to you in a moment because I just wanted to get this point out. So, looking at some of the comments here from under Nicole Lampert's situation, one thing she said was, Team Great Britain has asked me to make it clear that this is not their initiative. Stop messaging them, which speaks volumes to their role models. Are they being who they are? And again, I think it's always, especially in rugby, be who you are. All right. But you get some situations where you get like Rugby Julia over here who goes, you've done a lot of damage with this. You should delete both posts because of how it's engagement bait and you don't know anything about rugby or women's sports at all. Heavy, right? But on the other hand, you have something like Alison Griffith, who's apparently Welsh, who says, exactly, what was their intention? Like, it is these concepts. And of course, Twitter is not a consistent measure of people's attention, nor is it literally a consistency of the town hall. But it does present a thought. Like, is there other ways of being able to present body positivity without necessarily being scandalous or necessarily being too conservative at the same time? Can you be authentically you while also simultaneously providing yourself with the opportunity to, maximize your messaging? Like I said, for me, I'm not really pushed by this more. I give credit. I love the fact that even if this is a campaign, I hope these women are getting paid for this as representative for the lingerie, for Blue Bella lingerie. So in one hand, I love the idea that there's a sponsorship opportunity for them and that they are trying to flip it for positivity. And particularly for Jasmine Joyce and Ellie Boatman, who are two people who made the Great Britain team and will be competing in the Olympics and will absolutely dominate because that's what they do. It's great to be able to get them more eyes on this. And I hope a storyline goes with this. And then with Celia Quansah, who's been a massive advocate of LGBTQ rights, one, because she is, two, because her girlfriend, Megan Jones, is on that Great Britain team as well. So it puts a different level of face. But again, does it now distract because we've seen it so much? I don't know. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this one. Let me know. Do you guys feel like there is any questions on how that should be going with that? Before we get to any ads on that, I want to go to what Average Rugger was saying. He was talking in regards to the MLR. He said, it all starts with World Rugby opening up for social media personnel to promote the game more instead of hitting us with copyright strike. Social media is absolutely key. I 100% agree. I would say I hope for the Olympics to do show us how it's done and World Rugby not get in the way. But as per usual, the Olympics doesn't do anything with World Rugby in that sense, and they are going to absolutely let us share the clips, and it's going to go great. Also, shout out to Rugby Sevens. They do a great job in putting out some really solid clips that are out there and make it a little bit shareable. So hopefully World Rugby and their initiatives have done a better job moving forward when it comes to this one. But I do absolutely think that what happened on social media does help for developing the stories both for casual, like these stories are what we do in terms of spreading the game. So let me know, like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you guys think on the tags, whatever you want to do. All right. We're going to be right back. We got another commercial. We got to talk about what is Project Moonshot 2031, what Scott Lawerence got us into, and are we already done? With that being said, this is Gifted Belu with the Rugby Swag Show. Stay tuned. We got more to talk about. Be right back.
They're the wheat flour that you can eat. My name is Gift Time at Belu. I'm here with Health Enhanced Foods. And I want to tell you about one of our best and most beloved products, our sweet white wheat baking mix. Now, this is the baking mix for those who are not really looking for something that's gluten-free, but they are looking for something that they can eat that is going to still be healthy and is not going to be dangerous. White flour is typically a very processed, incredibly bleached flour, and it's not good for you. It's incredibly cheap for a reason. Our sweet white wheat bread mix is whole grain, dairy-free, high in dietary fiber, free of additives, and is absolutely unprocessed and unrefined. With our sweet white wheat bread mix, you can feel like you're getting all the same rewards that you would get from poor white bread, but with all the nutritional value. You're able to still make your bread loaves or your cakes, your flat bread or your cookies, but you don't have to feel like you are going to be robbing yourself of good carbohydrates. You can get the sweet white wheat bread mix from healthenhancedfoods.com. Absolutely go impress your friends and family with the greatest bread while not making them feel like they have to be gluten-free at the same time. No dangers, full body pleasures. Go ahead and get yours today. Let's go.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. All right, Project Moonshot 2031. All right, this is the new initiative that Scott Lawerence put out. Well, not so much new. It's obviously since he entered in, now became general manager, was officially made head coach for the USA men's rugby side. He has been actively trying to put together a comprehensive plan to be able to get the U.S. to the Rugby World Cup and actually win something for 2031 when it is in the USA. Now, I know this past weekend wasn't exactly the greatest for the Northern Hemisphere. In terms of shots that were lost, the Northern Hemisphere definitely got Gatling gunned down by the Southern Hemisphere. I mean, Samoa over Italy, Chile over Hong Kong. Actually, that one's, Chile over Hong Kong. The Japan over Maori All Blacks. Actually, that's the other way around. New Zealand over England. Australia beating Wales. Fiji taking down Georgia. But nothing hurt more. All right, nothing hurt more right now for me personally than watching the USA Rugby versus Romania match, with USA Rugby losing 22-20 in a tight game versus Romania. And look, honestly, I really thought this was supposed to be the wash game. Why did I think this was going to be the wash game? Because this is the Romania team that freaking got absolutely bodied by everybody in the Rugby World Cup last year. What was it? Ireland versus Romania, 82-8. South Africa versus Romania, 76-0. Scotland versus Romania, 84-0. Tonga versus Romania, 45-24. All right, we at least have beaten Tonga before. All right, like with some kind of rate of consistency. But this was supposed to be the warm-up game where you find the players. We got all these guys that are in MLR and have daily regimented playing schedule, and even though they don't mesh together necessarily as an international team, they have enough talent and time and skills to be able to find their pathways. A lot of the guys have played together or play on the same team. Even though Enola Gold, as my boy Benji Haswell said, like feeling a little bit left off the watch list. But you start off with something like that, and you're like, okay, what is the moonshot that you're trying to go for? You know, the creation of this, and it was something that I wanted to go take a look at. So I was like, all right, let me go take a look at this website. All right, let's take a look at this thing and find out what it is that Project Moonshot really is all about. So I want to do this with you guys. All right, we're gonna do this live. All right. So right off the bat, it says win a quarterfinal at the 2031 Rugby World Cup. I think that's great. You know, I think we it's due time that we showed up. Everybody wants to use the 1994 World Cup and the 1996 Olympic Games that will happen both in Atlanta as the preeminent standard for how to shift the U.S. country from a non-niche sport to a primary sport in rapid time. So, you know, given its first thought, man, I was appreciating this. I thought, man, this sounds great. Scott Lawerence, nice little quote. Just like JFK's audacious moonshot in 1962, winning a World Cup quarterfinals on home soil in 2031 demands the best of American rugby. Together, we will rise to the challenge. Man, gives you some chills, right? Gives you just a little bit of chills. I can't get mad at that. I can't get mad at that at all. All right. And then we continue on down. All right. What is Moonshot? Simply, it is 2023 Rugby World Cup, which we missed. We're here in the middle. We got the 2027 Rugby World Cup. And then the Moonshot is, once again, the 2031 Rugby World Cup with winning the quarterfinals. And put a nice little video. If you guys want to go watch it, it's basically just John F. Kennedy's speech to the nation about basically we got to go to the moon and do everything for the country, and this is what's best, and taking our future, and this is where we start looking forward, yada yada yada. Nice. This is the part where I start to lose a little bit. And again, I want to preface this by saying I genuinely am impressed and appreciate the fact that Scott Lawerence and his team are so invigorated to want to present the details of their plan and get the excitement of the USA Rugby constituency onto this. You know, I appreciate a person who tries to give effort. All right. And not just effort, that legitimately is trying to do it, and especially outside their range of expertise. That being said, I think they might have needed to get a little bit more of a marketing guy, because the presentation of this is very blasé. Like, it doesn't get you excited. It's very forthright. It's very forthright, and we're going to talk about it. We'll show it. All right. So they have it. The Project Moonshot broken down into 3 different projects. All right. Project Mercury, Project Gemini, Project Apollo. Very cool, spacey names and all that good stuff. All right. In Project Mercury, you have big plays, right tools, Charlotte home of men's 15s, because USA Rugby men had moved from Glendale, Colorado. They are now in Charlotte, North Carolina, which I think is actually better and definitely cheaper to be in. And hey, live the East Coast, where, you know, most of the money is going to be laying out anyway. Next is right values, love, work, energy, right people, full-time pathways, right vision, 2031 quarterfinals. And then you got the mission, all right, which is kind of starts off with last year, where we are playing a series of teams. It's Eagles Forever Fido. I don't really remember what that was. You can click on it. It was, I guess, the game. It wasn't the game. I guess it was a meet and greet for when they moved over to Charlotte. All right, then it was a USA Romania game, which I think we won. USA Portugal, which I think we lost. USA Georgia, we lost. USA stopped Toulouse, so I think we won that one. USA versus Brazil, we won that one. USA versus Spain, I think we lost that one, if I remember correctly. And basically, it's just a series of just what it is. I guess kind of documenting the journey a little bit. What the breakdown was, what the statistics is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. And then you go to Project Gemini. All right. Project Gemini takes place between 2024 and 2027. And it's broken down into what its big plays are: the 2027 qualification, a core squad gaining reps ahead of the 2031 Rugby World Cup. So basically, don't expect us to win in 2027, but we are getting the pieces basically set together that will launch off for 2031. The Anthem, growing the base, develop and improve the competitive playing base with Anthem Rugby Carolina of USA eligible players, which again kind of makes a little bit of sense, but it also doesn't, because of the fact that the players that you are using as eligible are encompassing all of MLR and not simply just the Anthem. So it kind of almost feels a little bit redundant to put them on. And then, of course, build next generation, qualify for U20 Junior World Championships, and accelerate the 18 to 23 age group. As of right now, USA is in the Junior World Trophy, and they're doing, I think, well. I think they were 2-0 last weekend, and we'll see what happens this weekend. Again, it's not a competition that the USA has not won and been promoted up. Problem has always been what happens once they get promoted up. But you have your various factors. All right. Within the Eagles themselves, it all started off with USA versus Romania, which we already lost. All right. Then you got USA Scotland, that's happening this weekend. USA versus Canada, that's in August. USA Japan in September, and then the Pacific Nations Cup in the rest of September. USA versus Portugal, USA versus Tonga, and USA versus Spain to close out the year. All right. And then subsequently, you have various ones for U20, which is a Junior World Trophy at this moment, and U18 with the South America tour that was based in Uruguay. All right. So again, I look at this, and obviously it's great. It's a schedule. All right. It's a schedule. It sets us all up. But, again, what is it that's going to make it so different from any other year? Because I think every year we've wanted to win the games that we have, except for 2020, 2021, because we barely had any games in 2022. But we want to win the games that are in front of us. We want to be able to grow the base. I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over again. And then 2028 to 2031 is called Project Apollo, which delivers exceptional pathway and teams that will represent us in a playing nation to the world in 2031. So, again, not the most inspiring, and it doesn't explain anything yet. But okay, great. We look at it. USA Performance Center, USA Charlotte, once again, is the home for now USA Eagles. You got key contributors, Sheehy. Shout out to Paul Sheehy, a consistent contributor to the development of rugby in the Maryland area and USA Rugby as well. The ability to be able to donate to it, and you can also sign up for the newsletter. The part that really kind of got to me a little bit, because I was like, again, I don't see anything different than what we've seen in any other year, any other situation. And I was like, okay, let me look at what they say the Eagles' DNA is. All right. And I thought this might be able to provide a little bit more insight. You have, essentially, as they call it, for those who are just listening, Eagles' DNA analyzes eligible and ineligible players in Major League Rugby. By comparing their skill sets, it identifies potential talent who can compete for the Eagles in upcoming 2027 and 2031 Rugby World Cup. All right, so it surface level, it sounds really, really nice. At surface level, it sounds really, really nice. But I did feel like it was very problematic that the key indicator here is on Major League Rugby. And one would say it makes sense. Look, if you want to play the international, you're playing pro, you're getting daily tasks. But right now, the MLR is still in a position of flux. They are still not necessarily developing the best players from the U.S. Obviously, the Anthem was created to be able to be a pathway for U.S. players, but you're utilizing multiple people. And that's also, of course, your internationals. So if you are trying to find the best players that are eligible to be able to perform, and those who are currently ineligible or incapable of being eligible with time, Major League Rugby would subsequently have to have a pathway itself that is consistently cultivating, scouting, and acquiring the legitimate best talent in the country, and not necessarily trying to find the best converting talent from other places. Like you could see our current USA squad, if you looked at it before, very, very Irish. It's very Irish and South Pacific, which isn't bad. But again, a lot of this is guys from overseas who have an American connection that happen to be playing in the MLR, as opposed to guys that you're developing internally to create what would legitimately be a core, not just core in play, core culturally, core mentally, core in familiarity, all these components that actually add to what makes a strong team overall. But continuing from there, then you had this weird data sheet of work rate versus the energy put in and the contributions. Like, I don't know if you guys ever paid attention to NFL. You got player cards that are like percentage of action versus minutes. This is the part where I was just like, I'm kind of dead on this. This is kind of, and not because it's complex. It's because it doesn't mean anything, right? It doesn't mean anything in terms of what you wanted from this website. It doesn't tell you a clear, complete pathway. And we've talked about this before. It doesn't really even denote like who is the eligible versus ineligible, or like even what the hell does it make a difference on the work rate? Like, is that legitimately an indicator? And what we saw from this weekend, it doesn't feel like it's the greatest indicator. It feels like things like intangibles don't make much of a difference if you're not seeing it as a win against one of the worst teams that played in the Rugby World Cup, and really, honestly, not that talented of a team. So, like, if you're not getting great product, or you're not getting the best talent that's being cultivated in USA, going to the MLR because MLR can't afford it, or these guys don't feel like they're getting compensated enough, or the teams are limited in their position, or you're bringing in players from other places where they're filling in positions. If that is your pathway to have to get to USA Rugby and to be able to play with the 2027 squad, I think you're leaving a lot under the table, and it still should absolutely be looked at in the club side. From an analytics standpoint, none of this really means anything in terms of work rate. Is there a greater percentage of success as a result of Billy Meeks playing 1,007 minutes at 0.65 actions per minute? Like, what does that mean? Like, oh, from a top 10 standpoint, does Nick Boyer legitimately play better versus a person who might be at the bottom of this list? I don't know. Let's use Bailey Wilson. Are they eligible? Does that change eligibility? Does that work rate? Does that mean anything? Like, it's the first time where I've looked at these things and I'm just like, this is what people said whenever Brandon Staley, who was the former coach for the San Diego Chargers, was just like, statistics. It's numbers game. Want to get the percentages. It's all about the percentages, the numbers, and yada yada yada. Like, does it take? Are you able to actually cultivate that, or is that something that's developed, or is that a permanent concept? Like, are these stats something that's a year to year? Is it age equivalent? Is it just by the player? Is it by the player or the action of their lifetime? Is it the action? Does that action even mean anything? Like, what are we doing right now? Like, what is it that we're trying to present in this? So I looked at this and I was like, this is the part where I don't know who this is actually for. I can't imagine it's for the players because, again, I would assume that the work rate that you're seeing is going to be based off of what you're seeing in practices, in scouting, in recruiting, and not necessarily just off of the numbers, while simultaneously, like, you are also looking at places where maybe talent gets fell to the side. Or are you impacting power to MLR to find ways to develop players who might be maybe poorly positioned, or players who are maybe athletically more gifted in one element versus another, that actually facilitates a need for the U.S.? Or what is even like the concept and the positioning that they want to have for this? Like, this was just it so surfacely feels nice, but so obviously means nothing. I don't think it's a great marketing element. I think it's a nice effort. And like I said, I appreciate effort. I'm not going to accuse Scott Lawerence of being a charismatic, creative, artistic person when it comes to presentation to the public. He is a head coach. He's a fantastic head coach. He's a fantastic GM. And I do trust that he's going to work a plan that will be viable. I'm not going to completely put this Romania game on his shoulder as is. But that being said, I still do not know if I have enough faith in what is being presented that should get me even remotely excited. It doesn't make me feel determined that there's going to be a shift. And even looking at the people that they chose, I still don't feel like the U.S. is athletically gifted in a unique way. Like, the things that are supposed to set us apart from the rest of the world, which is where everybody thought it was at one time the sleeping giant, which right now it's just the timid acorn. But like, it's not providing anything that should get me going over the top. Like, even the freaking video is just the speech of John F. Kennedy. It's not re-edited to be able to put some rugby stuff. It's not re-edited to be able to get us excited. It doesn't really inform anything except for tell us about how John F. Kennedy wanted to get to the moon. And the video that goes with that. Like, I get it. You put in not that much time because you want to focus on what you need to focus. But right now, where we're starting from does not feel encouraging. All right. The anthem suck. USA just lost to Romania in a close one that just was missed opportunity after missed opportunity after missed opportunity. And we're about to go against a Scotland team that just absolutely bodied Canada. And Canada is not better than us, but honestly, we're not that much better than them. I don't think we are. I think for so long right now, World Rugby has kept us as a top 20 team in the world. And for the life of me, it doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for us to be even in that conversation. So, like, when we're looking at almost immediately probably going down 0-2 with this squad that is just feels so run by the numbers, I'm not saying they don't have effort. I'm not saying that they don't have abilities. I'm just saying they seem like just like our regular squads from the last 5-6 years. You know, maybe some new faces, but what are we getting at it? Obviously, we need to see where they're going to go with it. And, you know, over time, maybe we'll be able to see more return on each of the games. But, like, what are we doing anything that is actually different? So far, none. And based off of the presentation, I don't think it provides us anything better. But I'm just trying to look up what our ranking is as a men's team for the USA. USA is ranked 18th, just behind Uruguay, a team that mollywopped us, 2 behind Portugal, a team that beat us, and 3. Like, we're still ahead of Romania for what? For what? How are we ahead of Romania? How are we ahead of Chile? How are we ahead of Canada? We're still going to be questioned on whether we can beat them. I feel like Namibia probably can outdo us as well, too. Hong Kong, China, probably not. Russia, because a lot of situations. Shoot, I think even Zimbabwe can probably put us to the numbers in 15s. Like, Brazil, no. Germany, questionable. They probably can do something with it. Like, I'm looking at these and it's just like, we really, these rankings are not consistent. They're not accurate. Like, we're not a top 20 team in the world. We're not. So, again, when you put together something like this, I need to feel like there's an excitement that's going to go. I just hear we got analytics. Like, analytics is the key word. This is Mike McCarthy, not Matt. My bad, Matt. Mike McCarthy with the Dallas Cowboys getting the job, being like, I've been studying analytics during my time off when I've been fired from Green Bay, and then come out and be like, I didn't really do nothing with analytics, man. It just was to sound good because analytics became everything because of baseball and all that. So I feel like this is just analyzing analytics, but I don't feel like this is an actual presentation. And I feel like they could have just done better with less to just get us excited, like getting to know what the USA rugby team's Olympic rosters were. But let me know what you guys think about this, man. I think I've said enough. I think I said my point, but let me know what you guys think about it. What do you feel about Project Moonshot 2031? Do you feel like there is something there? Do you feel like there is an effort, that there is a possibility that the U.S. could win a quarterfinals? More importantly, get into a quarterfinals and then win a quarterfinals in the next 7 years to get there. Like, let me know what you guys are thinking on this one, because man, it's not encouraging to me. But all right, y'all, we're gonna be right back after these commercials. We're Olympic pools and rosters have been dropping like crazy the last couple of weeks. Getting these things up has been a task, but I am genuinely looking forward to being able to talk about this because I like the work and I like what we've been able to see. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back after this commercial break. This is Gifty Bailey with Rugby Swag.
Don't you love a great ketogenic family? My name is Gifty Bailey. I'm here with Health Enhanced Food. I wanted to talk to you about one of our top baking mixes, and that is our ketogenic baking mixes. We got a ketogenic seed baking mix, our ketogenic almond baking mix, and of course, our ketogenic coconut baking mix. Now, what is so important about it being ketogenic? Now, for those who don't know, ketogenic means that it is utilizing low carbs to be able to eat from. The point of it is so that your body will naturally activate burning from your fat and be able to sustain off your proteins rather than feeding your body carbohydrates and your body simply burning that and you just don't lose weight. And so whenever you're doing that process, it's incredibly difficult. And of course, you're always going to have a craving for wanting to eat the breads and the carbs that you typically would have. With our keto baking mixes, you can have the pancakes, the waffles, the cookies, the cakes, the pizza crust that you absolutely desire without sacrificing the work, your diet, and obviously the results that you are trying to get. All our ketogenic baking mixes are gluten-free, grain-free, plant-based, and absolutely loaded with natural vitamins and minerals. We want to make sure that they are low net carb, they have no added sugar, they are protein rich, they have good healthy fats, but even more importantly, they have a low glycemic level. So for those who are diabetic and you're also still trying to find something, we have the baking mixes that are for you. And I'm sure you're wondering, why make 3 versions of them if they all are basically doing the same thing? Well, we wanted to make sure, as always, that we are trying to specialize to your dietary need. So with our ketogenic coconut, we wanted to give you a version that allows you to have a sweeter bread without sacrificing your diet. But it provides you things that you can make with your cakes, you can make your cookies, but you can be able to not have to lose your mind trying to find things that can satiate the taste without ruining your diet. With our ketogenic almond baking mix, that is one that has probably the highest protein content. It allows you to be able to control your blood sugar levels, reduce your blood pressure, lower cholesterol levels, and of course, it goes to promoting weight loss and being able to control the hunger. And for our ketogenic seed, this is for those who have a nut allergy and they can't take anything like the almonds. So we want to give them still the same thing. You can still make your bread. You can still make your pizza crust. You can still make your cakes and your buns and your muffins, but you don't have to worry about having an allergic reaction. You definitely can go check out the ketogenic line of products at healthenhancedfoods.com. Go ahead, keep up with your diet, get the foods that are necessary to keep you going, and let's get the results that you absolutely deserve. Let's go.
All right, y'all. Look, we gonna get this right. Ooh. All right, all right. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Yes. Yes, you can. All right. So, y'all, like I said, man, I'm looking forward to this year's Olympics. I think this is going to be one of the most interesting Olympics that we've had. I think this is going to be one of the most competitive Olympics that we've been able to have. And I think it's something to be able to get a great start on. So I wanted to really talk down and be able to break down what we got for the Olympics this year. And we're going to break this down through a nice little presentation, if you may. All right. So first and foremost, man, want to introduce you. All right, this is our 20. Hold on, I gotta get the music right. I didn't do this correctly. We gotta get this music right. All right, there we go. All right, so what we got, man, our 2024 Olympic Rugby 2024 Paris Olympic Rugby Sevens roster watch. We had been doing this 2 weeks ago. We got a few, but like I said, they've been dropping like crazy lately, all right? So let's get this one started right off the bat. First off, let's look at women's rugby, all right? We have our Pool A, all right? Just to remind you guys, Pool A is involving New Zealand, Canada, Fiji, and China. All right, this is a really great roster right here, all right? Some people might consider this a pool of death. I don't think so, but you have your winner, your Olympic winner here for the women. You have last year, your 2016 bronze medalist. You have your surprise finalist, and of course, China, who has been coming up at their the Challengers Cup and been promoting, came out. Sorry, I think my mic just went out again. Okay. All right, yes, been showing a great improvement. So we were able to predict, first off, that obviously I think Portia Woodman was going to be definitely leading the way when it came to the USA, the New Zealand women's side. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this up as well on here so you guys can also get a chance to look, all right? Portia Woodman-Wickliffe, obviously best women's rugby player in the world right now, if not of all time. And I don't even think it's a little bit of a question. She is literally the best women's rugby player of all time, the Jonah Loma of our generation for women. But the rest of the squad came in strong. Again, natural championship squad, a lot of returning players. Tyla Nathan Wong, Teresa Fitzpatrick, Stefano, Stacey Waka, Sari Harini, Risliana, Pori Lane, Michaela Blyde, Manala Nuku, Mahina Paula, Georgia Miller, Jasmine Felix Hotham, and Alina Saili. All right? This is a championship squad. While they did not win the HSBC Sevens this year, I think a lot of times they were just trying to go into rotation. Obviously, we saw Australia really coming up very strongly in this one. But we did get a chance to really understand, for whatever it's worth, what it would be like to be able to see what they've done. And again, they're two-time Olympic champions. Add that with Rugby World Cup. New Zealand is basically going on what I would call a last of the original class hurrah, all right? But next up, who came into the fold, we had Fiji. Now, Fiji is a team that 10 years ago was not the same. They were kind of coming in. They were very shy. They weren't very aggressive. But Lord knows that time changes so many things. Time changes so many things. All right, first and foremost, man, you got Addie Van Bruliki. All right, this is a team, like, before I go into individual names, this is a team that is probably one of the hardest hitting teams, all right? 2021, 2020 Olympics, they were the bronze medalists, all right? First time ever, Fiji has gotten 2 Olympic medals in the Olympic Games. Came both in rugby for the Fiji men and obviously the Fiji women. All right. Led off by Lavena Kaveri. She was believe the captain for that 2021 team, coming back with a return. Got Addie Van Bulecki, Addie Mirani, Rogosao, Alosi, Nakogi, Anna Marie Nalmasi, Elsapase Delaiwayo, Colario Lamani, Lasani, Luca Seva, Maria Rocco Chusiga, Repi Ulunisao, Sensinelli Domu, Veranisao Jikabatu, Tali Kwal Wilson, Raji Dave Davuyuse, and Maridani Quora. This team here is one that is absolutely one of the toughest teams, hardest hitting tackling teams. I remember when they went up against Canada in 2021, they broke Canada. And this was a Canada team that had just come off of a third place bronze medal finish in 2016. They broke Canada. But to be able to get a chance again, this Pool A is going to be coming in strong. All right, which leads us to already aforementioned Canada, which dropped their roster just this past week on Monday. Now, Captain Olivia Apps is going to be leading this off. Again, she is a multi-time Olympic winner, Olympic participant. And bringing in the full squad, Charity Williams returns back for her second in a row, the speedster. Kiara Wardley, Alicia Corrigan, Asia Hogan Rochester, Piper Logan, Chrissy Scurfield, Florence Sidmans, another great, powerful player for Canada. Fancy Bermudez, Chloe Daniels, Caroline Crossley, and Carissa Norston, with Taylor Perry being the travel reserve in this one. Right now, we still haven't gotten China's roster yet, and I believe we'll probably get something similar to what they got for the repêché and the challenger stuff, but you can't ever be sure. They've always changed, and you got to give them their credit. They're waiting until the last second to be able to get it done. But this pool right now, I think, is very tough. I do feel like this Canada team is going to be coming back with a resurgence. Last campaign, they were just troubled by so many things. Socially, they were troubled. COVID, they were having problems. Team was out of shape. They were broken, and they I think they came out 11th or 10th in it after going third place in 2016. So I think this Canada team is going to come back and try and do it. They got a lot of new players that are on here that are going to be getting their first real legs in these Olympics, and that's going to also play to how big the game is, especially over time. And I don't think they were able to do very much in the HSBC 7. So, the playing over the 2 days, 3 days is going to be arduous if they get out of pool play. But if I had to put my prediction down on this one, I'm going to have to say probably I look at Fiji and New Zealand to be able to have the highest chance of coming out of this pool and making it on to the next round. All right, let's look on to Pool B, all right? Now, Pool B includes Ireland, Australia, Great Britain, and South Africa. This is one of the first rosters that were done that actually we got our full roster play out of it, all right? Like we know everybody that's going to be on it. So let's kick it off right off the bat with Ireland. Now, Ireland is going to be led by Lucy Mulhall-Rock. Lucy this is going to be her third Olympic Games. I remember her back in 2014. I got a chance to interview her back in 2014, and she was early in, really, really excited about being able to do it, and that same energy has still been able to consist for her to continue to be captaining all these years later. And it feels like so much, but it's we're talking about 10 years now that she's been captaining this Ireland team. And that's a strong stance. That's a lot of strong veteran support that you get from this situation. And it's being led, she's got a great team that's going to be coming up behind her that's full of veterans. Bevan Parsons is a strong veteran for this Ireland women's team, all right? She's one of their power hitters. I would equivocate her to the Ileana Mar for Ireland. Next, we got Megan Burns, another veteran. Vicky Alms-Kinlan, Stacey Flood, another veteran, was in was it last year? 2020? Was 2020. Kathy Baker, 2021 Olympics. Eve Higgins, Emily Lane, Ashley Orchard, Amy Lee Murphy-Crow, Alana Fitzpatrick, Erin King, Claire Bowles, and Amy Lawrence are the travel indicators for this team this year. Again, this is a strong team. They got a couple wins in the HSBC Sevens last year. They got one this year. So this is a team that's has been understanding and building and growing more and more on trying to be consistent. Of course, under the Irish program for rugby, so we know that this is a pretty prolific program in and of itself. But this is a formidable team. Next up, we have Australia. All right. Now, with Australia, kind of had a prediction the last time we talked about it, about who's going to be on it. Charlotte Caslick, for sure, was going to be on this. Again, another 3-time Olympian at this point. Charlotte Caslick might be maybe the 3rd best rugby player in women's rugby in the world, at least in 7s, at least, because she didn't do much in 15, but she's actually shown out. She doesn't do much, but she's shown out. Probably 3rd best woman there. Portia Woodman being number 1. I would make an argument that Emily Scarrett is probably number 2. For Emily Scarrett plays for England 15. But the other people that we knew, I had predicted, was going to be Faith Nathan, all right, Madison Levy, and her sister Tegan Levy, all right. I figured that this 4 combo was going to be very, very core. The top 3 have been to, this will be Faith Nathan and Madison Levy's 2nd Olympics. I think this is Tegan Levy's 1st Olympic, but this is a great veteran group that's going to be going on that has been pretty central to Australia's development over the course of the last 3-4 years. They've gotten more and more dominant in 7s, subsequently surpassing New Zealand for the HSB Sevens tournament. And then the squad comes in strong as well. We got Bien Terita, Sharni Williams-Small, obviously Sharni Williams, another veteran who has been to, I think, 3 Olympics now with her. Chia Hands, Sarah Packey, Caitlin Shave, Isabel Nasir, Dominique Dutoit, Bridget Clark, and then in Travel Reserve, we have Collie Henwood and Sydney Taylor. All right. Like my guy Isaiah Washington going, Pool B is looking tough. Man, you don't even know the half of it, man. That you are so right. You are so absolutely correct about this one. And honestly, I believe that Pool B is arguably probably the pool of death here. But let's continue on with Great Britain's team, all right? Now, Great Britain, if you guys don't know, is a combination of England, Wales, and Scotland all come together. Take it for whatever you want. You can have your controversy, yada, 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 yada. But this Great Britain team came in 3rd last Olympics. This was a very tough team. I remember watching them play against the U.S. and namely where one of the players, Jasmine Joyce, just killed us. Absolutely killed us. This year, it's going to be run by Emma Urin, who is going to be captain. She's a Scottish Rugby 15s player, playing 7s. Tough nose. But really, this team is so stacked. Again, the biggest veterans coming back in this one are... The biggest veterans coming back in this is Jasmine Joyce, the speedster, and Amy Wilson-Hardy, who has been as consistent as ever at scrum. I believe at scrum half or fly half for her. She has been an absolute beast for basically, I want to say, the last 10 years. She's only been a 2-time Olympian. I'm sorry. She came in 2018. So she came for 2020, but she was also killing it with England for Rugby World Cup 2017. And obviously, again, Rugby World Cup 2022. Like this alone here is dominating on so many fronts on all passes. In the trenches, at the wing, and at the fly half position. Shout out to Jason Bray, the Aussie with the hatred for Great Britain. Boo, Great Britain. All right, the rest of the team, we got Megan Jones, another big, tough playing rugby player. You got Lisa Thompson, Lauren Torley. Hold on, I'm going to switch this up a little bit so single me out again. All right, Torley, Jade Shekels, Isla Norman Bell, Heather Cowell, Grace Compton, Ellie Kildunn, who Ellie Kildunn during the WXV tournaments this past year absolutely was a speedster beast. This is Ellie Kildunn and Jasmine Joyce on the same team. I find that to be actually probably one of the scariest wing combinations that we probably have in here, outside of maybe Faith Nathan. And no, I do think one of the scariest wing combinations outside of maybe New Zealand with Portia Woodman-Wickliffe and Michaela Blythe. Like, these ones are just different, all right? And Ellie Boatman, and then coming in at Travel Reserve is Kaylee Powell and Abby Burton for this. So just these teams alone already makes for a difficulty on who's coming out on top, all right? Traditionally, I have a very strong belief Australia, I mean, they've been absolutely beasting it out. So we're really looking at a power of three, but we're still not done yet. We still have South Africa to do, and they're not to be sniffed against. All right. Now with South Africa, we got two new captains. This is, I think, their first Olympics being in there. Obviously, this is a program that has been slowly developing and building up more and more each day. Like, they've been getting better and better and better. They're improving WXB. They beat Kenya to be able to qualify for the Olympics, a team that had been in this last year and obviously lost in the repechage against China at the last second. But this South Africa team has actually been developing, very hard team, still trying to find their rhythm more or less, but still good. But they're led off by Mathern Simmons and Zinteli Mufapu. All right. And then coming in with a strong squad, Viroshika Grain, Caesophilia Soltisi. Now, Caesophilia, she has played in the 15th, one of the hardest hitting props for South Africa. Definitely not one to snip on. Nadine Roos, Maria Shiremba, Lasika Latajan, Libby Jensen Van Rensburg, Kimisetu Balowi, Ayanda Malinga, Birhandre Dolph, Marlise J. Brune, and then in for their travel reserve, you have Shona Leah, Weston, and Shaniqua Lemprate, which, again, it's solid. This is a solid squad. This is going to be a tough one. I do feel like South Africa is going to be the odd team out. One, this is their first Olympics, so the grind really gets, especially the waiting. They're going to be amongst the last. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of eyes on it, more so than they will have ever dealt with leading. I don't care what they've played in South Africa. They have not going to have eyes like they will have this year from cameras and from spectators on the field and at home. But I do feel like in this Pool B, though I have a lot of faith that Ireland is going to get a surprise win over one of these two teams, over Australia or Great Britain, I genuinely feel like this is going to be Australia and Great Britain again. They're going to be popping up. They got too much experience. They got too much speed. Faith Nathan is Jasmine Joyce down under. All right. Jasmine Joyce is the Welsh Faith Nathan. All right. Like, Sarah Pocky is basically like, well, I don't know. I don't have a really equivalency for them. But again, these X Factors of Charlotte Caslick, Faith Nathan, Sharni Williams, And then what we get from Jasmine Joyce, Amy Wilson Hardy, and Meg Jones, I don't see either Ireland or South Africa being able to compete over the period of time in pool play. So look for me. My prediction is these two teams coming out of pool play in Pool B for the women. All right. And for women's side, we last have Pool C. All right. Pool C involves the USA, France, Japan, and Brazil. All right. Again, this one's an interesting one because low key, it's not a pool of death, but Japan and Brazil have more talent on them than you give them credit. All right. But let's start off with what it is. The Great USA, baby. All right. USA women are led off immediately by Nia Capper and Lauren Doyle, all right? These two have obviously been veterans. Nia Capper was in the Olympics in 2020, 2021. Lauren Doyle has been there since 2016. I'm assuming this is going to be amongst her last Olympics. She's been in this, but a good effort. Nia Capper, on the other hand, has been captaining for this USA Sevens team for the last 3 years. And I think it has been amazing for improving her game. I've talked about this before where I said 2021 Olympics, I thought that she was slacking a little bit. She was lacking the speed that we knew from her wasn't there. But since she took over the leadership role, I feel like her play has improved because she has to lead by example. But we still have a really great team that's going along with it. All right, we got Christy Kirsch, speedster. Spiff Cedric, Steph Rovetti, Sarah Levy, Kayla Kinnett, Sammy Sullivan, who I've seen since 2019 in military. Amazing. And we've seen her play incredible during these sevens games. Absolutely incredible fly. Ileana Marr, nothing needs to be said. We know about her. Ariana Ramsey, who's going to be entering her second Olympics. Alev Kelter entering her third Olympics. Alina Olsen, and then in reserve, Nicole Haberland and Chris Thomas. Both have been in 3 Olympics. This will be their third Olympics, respectively. Now, what makes this one interesting is we've seen this team play really well over the course of the HSB Sevens, but their trouble has always been Australia. Australia has been a huge linchpin in the ability for USA to get to that medaling round. And they haven't won one. They've beaten New Zealand. They have beaten Canada. They've beaten France. Obviously not Great Britain because Great Britain doesn't play in the HSBC 7, but they've beaten England. But Australia is the one. I do feel like we have something a lot better, and I feel like this is a significantly more improved USA women's team than 2020, 2021. Number one, Ariana Ramsey. All right. In 2020, 2021, Ariana Ramsey was brand new. All right. Speedster. Brand new. Needed to still get work in. I feel like she is coming back stronger. She's tackling better, but she has better vision of the game than she did 4 years ago. All right. Alev Kelter, always a game changer, always tough nose, will bring in a defense in any what way. But I don't think she's going to be as important in this as it has been in the past. She hasn't played very much during the HSBC Sevens. She's playing really overseas in the Premiership. So, it makes sense that she hasn't been doing too much Sevens, but it's not like you have to work too hard in getting cohesion with the group. She's very easy to fit into the mix. But having her as a backup, especially against Ileana Marr, Sammy Sullivan, I think is going to be really significant. Which brings me to who I think really is going to be the game changer. Even though you can see she's TikTok star, that is not what her limit is. Ileana Marr definitely is going to be really what brings the defense in. And especially when we're going up against Australia and New Zealand that are going to be actively working to take advantage of the outside and use their speedsters. Ileana Marr really cramping that style and really putting a hit on them, especially in the middle, and really trying to constrict those defenses and those offenses is going to be really significant. It's going to be really helpful. Christy Kirsch, speedster, obviously working in a fly half, going to be doing it second one. This is her second Olympics, veteran support. This one, I do feel like is the first time that we've had, not the first time, but we finally had our breakaways since maybe the 2016-2017 campaign. Chris Thomas being on travel reserve is wild. Don't get me wrong, because she has been like one of the most dynamic players for the women's sevens team since 2013, 2014, maybe 2015 no, 2015 maybe. And it is wild. Obviously, we're missing some other players, but it speaks volumes to what we have on the edge. Spiff Cedric, breakaway. Nia Tapper, again, coming off of the breakaway. I think this is a team we know that can get to at least a quarterfinals. All right. Let me continue on here. Getting on to Brazil. Now, I'm jumping it back because this is the order where they release their stuff. Now, Brazil, I talk about Brazil because these two women, the Costas twins, are probably one of the most dynamic playmakers in rugby, and they're very unassuming because, again, not a lot of people have a lot of faith in Brazil rugby, and obviously they're still developing, they're still coming along, but they've been absolutely dominating in South America, right? From the women's side, absolutely dominating. And Thalita and Thalia are so fast. Like, these are the mighty mice, all right? Like Jasmine Joyce, Michaela Blythe, Faith Nason, these are mighty mouses for their team, but there's two of them, and they're sisters for Brazil. So I look at them, and this is one of those situations where you really get a chance to be able to see what the Brazil team goes, but I think the weakness for this team probably comes in the rest of it, unfortunately. For this team, you got Marcel Souza, you got Blanca Silva, Gabrielle Lima, Giselle Gomez, Yasmin Soares, Milena Mariano, Mariana Nicola, Mariana Fioravanti, Raquel Cocan, and Luisa Campos, with Leila Silva and Alina Furtado in the travel reserve. Again, this is going to be a team that's going to play teams hard. I don't think they're going to win anything, but they're going to play teams hard. And again, they're building up very similar to how South Africa is. Slow, steady team. They've been able to show themselves out inside their region, which is most important. Win your region first, and then go to the international. Obviously, in the U.S. HSBC 7, they just barely made the cut. They continue to stay in it. Tough team, but you know they're scrappy. All right. Next up, we got Japan. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know that much about Japan, unfortunately, just because they've not been that much. But Yumi Hirano is going to be captaining for this team, and it's going to be following up with the rest of the team: Arasani Nishi, Shiaki Sagusa, Shiharu Nakamura. Now, Shiharu Nakamura, I do know, because Shiharu Nakamura is going to be attending her third Olympics. She's the captain for the 2016 team, which was a tough team. That was a tough team. They broke. Like, they were like a great first half team, but they just did not have the ability to like turn it up more. Didn't have the athletic talent, to say the least. You got Emil Tanaka, Sakura, Mitsutani, Rinka Matsuda, Hanaku Utsumi, Honoka Tetsumi, Marin Kajiki, Mei Otani, and Wakaba Hara. All right. Great squad. Won Asia Pacific, beat China. You know, they're a team that also wins in their region. Just how good they are is to be determined. All right, to be determined. And next, we got France. And this French team probably is one of my favorite teams to watch, particularly for the two leaders in Anne-Cécile Siofani and Seraphine Okemba. I remember seeing them. This is going to be, I think, their third Olympics, respectively. Anne-Cécile Siofani is a hereditary Olympian. Both her parents were Olympic athletes, and she moved over from, I think, soccer to come play rugby. This woman is a straight up gazelle. Straight up gazelle. Long leg run, takes up a lot of space, and she is way faster than her run speed looks because she can pick up so much yards with so little few steps. And the other one, Seraphine Okemba, who was the other wing, battering ram. Absolute battering ram through. And these two were like a disgusting combination. Absolutely disgusting combination between them for France. So coming in dangerously, still coming with that. And really the biggest difference in this French team is going to be the fact that they do not have Fanny Orta, who had been the captain up until the 2021-2022 season when she retired. It went from, I think, 2013, 2012 until 2022 when she retired out after the Olympics, which I think they ended up finishing second in that Olympics in 2021, 2020, and 2020, 2021. So following with the French women, they are going to have Camille Gracineau, Yolani Yangu, Carla Nissan, Lou Noel Riviera, Caroline Drown, who is basically another replicant of Seraphine Okemba, basically. Just another replicant. Just another basic replicant. Chloe Jacquet, Chloe Pelly, again, two veterans. Ian Johnson, Joanna Greasy, Lily Dezu, and then coming in with veteran Shannon Izar, and then Alicia Christianens as the travel reserve. Strong travel reserve, strong French team. Now, looking at this, I think straight up it's going to be USA and France. Like, again, no offense to Japan and Brazil, but they just do not have the foot talent to be able to compete at this level. They're going to play well. Again, first half for it. I think the Japan-Brazil game should be an interesting one. Probably will end up being maybe the 9th, 10th, or 11th place game, something to that effect. But I'm thinking it's going to be the 9th place game. I think it might actually be the 11th place game. But like, they're going to play well. But this one, USA and France, this one is not only a hard rivalry going on here, but these two are both medal contenders for this year. So I really, really look forward to that. Again, Siafani and Okemba they get me excited to watch. It's like watching Naya Ileana and Ariana Ramsey going through. But that outside force, again, that's going to be the power. How many people are going to be able to exceed distance at the wings in Pool C? All right, let's move on to the men's rugby. All right, Pool A for men. All right, we are starting off. We got Ireland, we got New Zealand, Japan, and South Africa. And we finally were able to get the rosters for everybody. So let's break this down respectively. All right, first off, for Ireland, you're going to be captaining by Harry McNulty. He's the veteran in this. I think this might be his first Olympics. I don't remember Ireland being in it before. I think this might be their first Olympics. And if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. It's okay. I don't always research very well. But this has been a tough team. They've won at least one HSBC Sevens tournament. I feel like it was London that they might have won. I don't remember exactly. So they're a tough-nosed team, but they're not, traditionally known for their 7-speed. Coming in with them, they got Zach Ward, Terry Kennedy, Niall Comfort, Mark Roche, who is a veteran at this, Jordan Conroy, who is considered one of the fastest rugby players in the game. I remember whenever it was him and Brian Habana, people were trying to figure, and Carlin Isle, people were trying to figure out who's the fastest between the three. Obviously, it was Carlin, like, who were we trying to say? But Jordan Conroy is right up there, breakaway speed. Following up, Jack Kelly, Hugo Lennox, Hugo Keenan, Greg Mullen, Shay Mullins, Andrew Smith, and then coming in at Travel Reserve, Sean Cribben and Brian Mullen. Again, formidable team. They got good, solid talent, again, good speed on the edge. But, what they're able to do with it is going to depend because they're still going up against a tough squad. You got New Zealand now. New Zealand men going to be led up by Scott Curry. Now, this New Zealand sevens team is a little different. Obviously, Tim Mathaford, who was the captain for the sevens team in the last Olympics, he retired out. He lost a lot of veteran leadership, I believe, in this one, but I mean, it's still a formidable team because it's New Zealand. You never underestimate New Zealand, even though I don't think they played that well during the HSBC Sevens tournament. But you got a solid team. Tupea Cook Savage, Moses Leo, Reagan Ware, Leroy Carter, Brady Rush, solid veteran right there. Negroni, McGarvey Black, Fehi Finaganofu, who is a newbie, young cat. So this is energy games here. Aquila Rocco Lasoa, who is Sevens Player of the Year multiple times over. Again, dangerous player out the edge. Tone Nig Shui, Dylan Collier, and Andrew Newstub. So I think this is a solid team. I don't know if I consider them to be a gold medal team, but again, it's New Zealand. Even whenever they don't look good, they look great. So you can't ever underestimate what it is they're going to bring in any kind of effort, shape, or form. But I don't have the strongest faith with them. I simply don't. But I think it's going to be a good team. I definitely will. I do think they'll make it into the quarterfinals. Next, you got Japan. All right. Now, Japan Sevens has always had a very interesting history. If you guys recall, 2016 was whenever they beat South Africa in pool play, to then subsequently lose to them in the third round match. And that pretty much set off the range of motion for starting to include Japan as a tier 1 nation. They might be a low end tier 1 nation, but they are a tier 1 nation. And that Rugby Sevens, that Olympic game was a big helper on this. They're going to be led by Captain Kipe Ishida on this scrappy guy. And then, of course, you have the powerful Fijian Joshua Koredi. You got Yu Okudaira. You have Junya Matsumatu, Kazuma Ueda, Yoshiyuki Koga, Kipi Taninakia, Moeki Fukuishi, Yoshiro Noguishi. I think Noguishi. Forgive me my name pronunciation. Couldn't find them all, but we're going to deal with it. Takamasa Maru, Taiga Ishida, who I think is related to Kipe, and Shitaru Suoka in this one. Again, solid squad. I think if you guys have watched Japan or played in Japan or played against Japan, always a scrappy team. Very quick. Very underassuming, not the greatest tacklers, but again, this is why they got their replacement sevens Fijian in this one, and that usually helps them pretty much. And then lastly, South Africa, and this one was a bid that I think surprised everybody simply because of the fact that South Africa had to win through the repechage, losing to Kenya in the Africa Cup games, which is ironic because Kenya women lost to South African women and Kenya men beat South African men. And subsequently, only one of those two teams made it back into the Olympic Games. So South Africa was a double program. But we know South Africa has always been dangerous. They've always been a very, very talented athletic team. Obviously, they have great rugby knowledge. We know what their 15s teams can do, but their 7s team, I think, has been underestimated, especially because they weren't in the HSBC 7s this year. So, you didn't get a chance to see them play week in and month out, but it is not one that's to be underestimated, and they absolutely ran through the repechage. So, let's take a look at who they're bringing in. Obviously, Captain Selvin Davids, who has been multiple times, played with Cecil Africa. I remember whenever he was playing, I considered them part of the Dreads of Doom, which made me love the South African team so much more. They're just so dope to watch on, so powerful. All right. But bringing in with the team, you got Zane Davids, you got Christy Grobler, you got Impy Vieser, you got Quinn Nortish, Tristan Lades, Roscoe Specimen, who Roscoe and Selvin David, dangerous combination. Dangerous combination, man. Dangerous. All right. You got Ryan Oosthuizen, Sean Williams, Shelton Van Wyck. Another dangerous combination, man. Dangerous. All right. CV say Easy Wapi, Tian Pretorius, and then coming in at travel reserve, the Youngling, Katalegu, Latebeli, and then Ronald Brown. Now, looking at this squad, all right, looking at this pool, this one's a tough. All right, this one's a tough because again, we always want to go. New Zealand is going to be automatically in because it's mother freaking New Zealand. It's New Zealand, but I don't think they're there as guaranteed as they've been in the past. Now, I do feel like this South Africa team has something to prove. They got a lot to prove, especially because they weren't in the HSBC 7. They relegated out. They didn't win the African Championship. They had to go through the repechage. They've had to go do work to prove themselves to be worthy because this is an indication on their program. Like everybody goes, oh, it's 15 is the main one, 7s is it. No, 7s still plays. The Olympics and the Rugby World Cup are your two biggest elements, the two biggest competitions in rugby. I don't care what anybody says. For an international, for a casual, for what it really means to actually grow the game, Olympics and Rugby World Cup are the two. And South Africa, needs to really show out for the Olympics on this one. And I feel like Selvin David, he's a veteran, older guy. He's out to get blood because he's got to show that he can captain a real team. So I think actually South Africa is going to move on, but it's going to come down to Ireland and New Zealand. And by all intents and purposes, I feel like Ireland at least has been able to play a little bit in HSBC 7, so they have a feel for the games, but it's New Zealand. Like, it's still New Zealand. No matter how much you feel about it, it's still New Zealand. And when it comes down to it, Southern Hemisphere rugby just outweighs Northern Hemisphere rugby. And even though they got Jordan Conroy, I don't think they're going to have the total talent bed to be able to take out New Zealand. Now, I do feel like they're going to get a win out here, outside of just Japan. But I do think that these two are going to be moving on, and Ireland and Japan are going to be the odd ones out in this pool. All right, keep hanging on tight, man. We got some more pool play to go here. We're going to be talking about this more. All right, Pool B. All right, Pool B includes Kenya, Samoa, Australia, and Argentina. Now, so far right now, Kenya and Samoa have not released their rosters yet on who they're going to be picking. I feel like it's going to be a last-minute play because it costs money to be able to travel, man. They're probably getting their stuff together. But we do know for Australia, first and foremost, and this is going to be a wild card team, all right? We got Nick Malouf, who's going to be captaining this team. I don't know very much about him at all, to be honest with you. I don't know very much about him, except for he's a solid player in watching, all right? But they got Nathan Lawson, all right, Maurice Longbottom, Matt Gonzalez, who is in a relationship with Faith Nathan. That is a storyline that we need to see. Can both Australian teams bring the first gold medal couple in rugby? I'd love to see if it hasn't already been done. No, I guess gold medal heterosexual couple. Mark Nawa Kintiwasi will be continuing. Ben Darling, James Turner, Henry Patterson, Henry Hutchison, Hayden Sargent, Dietrich Roche, Corey Toole, and then following up Michael Isley and Josh Turner as the subsequent travel reserve. This Australian team is just relatively young. So it's a relatively young team, relatively new team. Not a whole lot of veteran support that's coming out from this. Again, it's Australia. There's always a chance for being talented, but as we all know, like, Australia has been struggling, and I feel like this is a situation where these guys can maybe use an opportunity to be able to show that rugby union in Australia is not dead yet, and there is still a chance. But if you go off of what Eddie Jones said, that Australia rugby is long gone. They're basically out of it at this point. And so this team, I don't know how well they're going to do. I do feel like they have a chance to be able to get out of pool play. But this is a team where I'm just like, you have the pedigree for it, but I don't know if you have what do you call it? I don't know if you have the capability to do it or the strength. All right. And then next up, we have Argentina. All right. This Argentina team, again, has very close. Basically won HSB 7 series. Led off by when they're not on there, they're not the same team. Like, this is a really tough-nosed team that's going on here. I hope I didn't lose too much on it. If not, we'll deal with it later. But Argentina is followed up and led by... It's followed up with a strong outing. You got Tomas Eliazalji, Tobias Wade. You have Santiago Mari, Santiago Alvarez, Mateo Graziano, Gaston Revol, the guy that I like to call Draco Malfoy, a.k.a. Luciano Gonzalez. Game changer as well. Dude is so powerful down the middle as a center. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Machias Osaduzuk. I'm so bad at names. German Schultz. Joaquin Pelladini, Augustin Fraga, and then coming up in travel reserve, Rodrigo Iscro and Santiago Verafel. Again, a team that, put in the right position can win it all. Like, they legitimately can win it all for this Argentina team. And I don't think like I said, I don't think this is a situation where you want to underestimate what they can do, especially in this pool play. Again, we have yet to see what the Kenya team and Samoa team is going to do. Kenya is coming in with relatively new guys, but I do feel like this is a hungrier team. I don't know what it's going to end up being, what the roster is, but the guys that they do have that I've seen during the some of the Africa Sevens championships, I think Mauritius earlier this year, or last year, I think. Mauritius last year. They have got young guys who are hungry. Because I think in the past, whenever Kenya came to the Olympics in 2016 and a little bit 2021, if I remember correctly, it felt like they were just happy to get to the Olympics. They weren't really excited. They weren't really ready to play. I feel like this is a young team, especially with all the turmoil going on in Kenya, that it needs this. They need to get a win underneath their belt. But that being said, man, again, I feel like at least Argentina is going to be coming out of this, but I can't predict Pool B yet. I don't trust Australia at all. I don't know what version of Australia is going to end up coming into play, and I just don't know what's going to happen with Kenya. Kenya is always someone that can survive. They can either be the best team in the world or they can be one of the worst. And then Samoa, again, is very, very hit or miss. Really regionally great, but I don't always see them building out nationally because they get poached. They get poached too heavy. All right. And finalizing out, we got Pool C, which involved USA, France, Uruguay, and Fiji. And this is the pool that I consider to be the pool of death. All right. This one for the USA might be one of the hardest pools that they've ever played in. But let's see what we got. So kicking off, we predicted last couple weeks ago that Perry Baker, Kayvon Williams were guaranteed to be on there. Obviously, Perry Baker is on his swan song now. Kayvon Williams coming into his second Olympics and being captain as well for basically the last 8 years. Really see that this is an opportunity for them to not disappoint. Perry Baker's on his third Olympics. The USA has disappointed each and every single time during the Olympics. Each and every single time. And they're coming up with a bit of a squad. Obviously, gone are the days of Danny Barrett and Carlin Isle. But you got Stefan Tomasin, good veteran, Oren Beezer, Matei Luta, Marcus Tupuola, another veteran. A lot of great play out of him. Naima Fulau, Malachi Ezel coming in for his second Olympic Games, needing to prove out. Mako Nufe, longtime veteran. I believe this is his third Olympic Games as well. Madison Hughes, third Olympic Games, obviously big-time veteran. Again, some of these guys, I feel like they're coming on their swan song because 2028 in LA is a long time from now. Lucas LeCamp and then Aaron Cummings, who has been, a lot of up and down, and then coming in with the travel reserve, Peter B and Adam Channel. Again, this is a squad that seems to know how to get out of pool play, but once you get into the quarterfinals, it's like everybody forgets how to play. I don't know if they're gassed out. I don't know if they're tired. I don't know if they mentally break. But come pool play is whenever it disappoints. And this is a team that I don't know if they're going to have another chance like this for another 8 years with this guy, Perry Baker, being out of the competition primarily. Perry Baker not being in is going to be one of the biggest hits for this USA team for coming forward. And this is the year that you got to get them. You failed on the Rugby World Cup 7s. You failed on the Rugby World Cup 7s in 2018. You failed in the Olympics in 2021 and 2016. All of them 9th place, 10th place finishes. I think this is even the game that Mike Friday is going to be on the hook for. If you can't get this one, what can you actually do for the USA? What is going to justify that $300,000 salary that is leaking the already broke USA Rugby? All right. Next up, we got the returning two-time Olympic champs in said Jerry Chue said, I'm trying to get a third. All right. I ain't playing games no more. I'm not playing with y'all folks. All right. Just make sure my audio is coming correctly. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. This is it always gets a little iffy. All right. Gotta come correct with it. Jerry Chue. All right. Coming correct. Coming for the third. This is going to be an interesting squad here for Fiji. Again, we know Fiji. Fiji is big. Fiji is powerful. Fiji is fast. Fiji is sevens. But this is not the same Fijian squad that we've seen in the last couple of Olympics. Ever since the 2021 Olympics, they haven't been the dominating force that we've always known them to be. I don't feel like they've been. And I think it's really important for us to realize that they have still an opportunity to be able to do something. So let's look at what they got. We got, all right, Waisi Nasqui. All right, I'm going to butcher these names so badly. Celestino Ravatuamada, who played for the Fijian Drua as well. I forgot to mention on the women's side. They've been playing 15 and 7. So these are two-way players. I feel that makes you a better player on both sides rather than isolating yourself out, in my opinion. Terrio Bielawa, Sevuloni Mosinasigi, Hatu Philippines Sauturaga, Ponipachi Logan Imasi, Kaminelli Rasaku, Joseva Talakolu, who is also a veteran returning back. Guy's got a hunger to him right now that might be dangerous for players in this pool, especially. Josiah Rasiki, Jerry Matana, Iosefu Masi, and then Joji Nasova and Vuiviwa Naduvalu as travel reserve on this one. This, again, unpredictable. This is still Fiji. You don't underestimate Fiji in any way, shape, or form. But again, they're not the same team they've been. Ben Gallings isn't going to be directly coaching them like they've been in the past. But I do feel like this is a team that is going to be competition here in Pool C because of this final little tidbit. And this is where I think is going to be the deal breaker, because I do feel like it's going to come down between the USA and Fiji, because we got France entering in with the best mother-sucking rugby player in the mother-sucking world, with Antoine Dupont. All right? Antoine Dupont, who came into a fledgling French team that was starting off with the HSV7, and basically his first game they won. All right? This man took Toulouse in the top 14 championships basically on his back and ran 5 scores in to be able to put Toulouse over and destroy a good, I forgot who their opponent was again, Stade Francais team. This is the same guy that came in France, and when he got injured, basically France was not the same team. After I didn't even realize, I've never seen a scrum half who's been so absolutely needed to be able to win so many games. Never seen this before in my life. And then following up with them, great team, Andy Timo, young guy, Jean-Pascal Baraki, Aaron Granduvier Nkagi, Jefferson Lee Joseph, Jordan Sefu, Speedster, Antoine Zegdar, Varian Pasquet, Theo Forner, Stephen Perez Edu Martin, Raya Hebaj, and Fallon Hiva, with William Uruguay and Nelson Epi as a travel reserve. France has always been a team that has talent, but no heart. It's very much quite the opposite of like South Africa women or Japan. Japan is a team that has heart. They play strong, but their natural talents are a little bit lacking. France got all the tools, every single tool to be a championship in everything that they do. And they are the biggest floppers when it matters most. I'm expecting that Antoine Dupont is going to make a difference in this game. Hopefully the hunger to cross over from 15 to sevens is going to be a big difference maker. But I do feel like it's going to come down to this. I feel like France is going to make it in, though the U.S. has historically beaten France in pool play pretty well. I feel like it's going to be U.S. and France in this one. I think Fiji, 3 times straight. If you go in 3 times, at this point, you just give them the Olympics. Just give them the Olympics consistently, that they do. But I don't think Fiji is going to take it over the top. I think Jerry Tuwe is going to end his career with 2 Olympic golds, which literally is not the worst thing in the world to be able to do. Why? Come on. Like, if there is a failure in life, it's to be Jerry Tuwe when ending with 2 rugby golds in the Olympics. Goodness. But I do feel like USA and France are going to be the 2 teams that come out of this pool play and go into the quarterfinals. And unfortunately, Fiji and Uruguay. Even though I don't know what Uruguay's roster is going to be, but typically Uruguay typically plays the GOAT, not greatest of all time, but the patsy in pools like this. Scrappy, play hard, but just not going to do it. But again, don't put it past France to absolutely flop and let Fiji get into this. But I do expect the USA to get out of pool play. That is a minimum from this, and especially because of what we know that is coming up after this game, which is the retiring players that are coming after this. All right, there's some like Great Britain that retired already, but since they didn't make it into the Olympic Games, I don't care about what they do. But we know first and foremost, Perry Baker is gone. All right, he's been alluding to this since the end of the 2020-2021 Olympics. He came back because he said, let me get one more shot at it. The Rugby World Cup 7s was a disappointment, but he said we got one more shot. We're getting cohesion together. We're going to keep pushing it. And but after this, he's retiring. And it makes sense. 38, played, he's got kids, got his wife at home, take care of him, watch his kids grow up. One of his kids basically already going to college. Like, the man's been on the road most of his career lately. Like, it's time for him to be able to go back home. I can't believe we're the same age and have kids at 2 completely different points. It's absolutely wild. Portia Woodman-Wickliffe, all right? We got the 2017 and 2018 World Rugby Player 7th of the Year, and we got basically every year player of the year for women, deciding to retire at the end of this Olympics. Will she get 3 straight Olympic golds? Again, situation like Jerry Tuwe, but she's had a much more consistent squad, even though she doesn't have to require as much pressure. Even with her banged up leg for a moment, she's still like just leaps and bounds better than everybody else. Just leaps and bounds better than everybody else. And then, of course, lastly, we have Tyla Nathan Wong, Nathan Wong King. Okay, I gotta make sure I remember married names. All these people got married recently. Yo, big shout out to them because there was a slong. But she will also be retiring. Big time center, big time fly half. All right. She's a game changer on this one for the New Zealand. Is she going to be able to get 2 straight? No, she's a 3 straight. She's been to 3 Olympics. All right. Is she going to get that? I think the storylines are going to be playing out themselves. I'm excited because I want to see the hunger. All right. We got new blood that's hunger. We got old blood that's leaving that needs hunger. I am so hyped for this Olympic Games that is going to be coming up. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this, man. I know this is a long breakdown, but I don't care because I've been wanting to do this. We're going to do more of them over the year because we're going to go through it inch by inch. Look at the YouTube channel, youtube.com/GiftTimeRugby. It'll be absolutely worth it. But y'all, man, I definitely looking forward to a strong Olympic Games in this year's Olympics. Great squads going through. Let me know what you think. Of course, we'll update once we get more squads. And if you guys don't know, I forgot to properly put it up for it. Olympic Games kick off on for the men's. It's July 24th through the 27th, and then for the women, it's July 28th. July 28th through the 30th, man. So this would be a really interesting one. Definitely catch it out. All right, y'all. We're going to do final closing remarks after this. Stay tuned. We're going to get to our those who take care of us, obviously. And stay tuned. This is Gitte Belu with Rugby Swag. Be right back.
All right, I don't want to hold you guys off. I know it's another ad. Watch out now. But I need to tell you guys about Rugby Outlet Mall. Look, this is the official e-commerce store for Rugby Swag Show and for Gift Time Rugby Network. And of course, we want to make sure that we are hooking you up with gear that is absolutely built for you to be able to wear on a day-to-day. Of course, we can do jerseys, and everybody has a jersey, but not everybody wears a jersey every day. But we have the rugby gear for you. Whether it is our FedEx best or our PayPal best, we have unique designs that are going to be fun and desirable for you to represent the way that you need to. And of course, if you guys go to rugbyoutletmall.com and use the code Grow Rugby, we're going to save you 10% off your first order. Hey, please support Rugby Swag Show. And of course, even some of our other stuff, the HBC Rugby Classic, and just general gear and merch for you guys, because hey, I want you guys to have the best, and I definitely appreciate you guys supporting. So definitely go rugbyoutletmall.com, use promo code GROWRUGBY, GREAUX Rugby, and you will get 10% off your first order. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and let me let you get back. Cheers. I'm going to let you get back to the show. I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. But in 2024, it is necessary that you have your own website. Don't let anybody tell you social media is the only place that you can be able to advertise. You need your own home. And the best home to be able to purchase online is through Green Geeks. This is the web host platform that gives you the most for the cheapest price, y'all. I've been using Green Geeks for almost 10 years now, and off the WordPress platform, I've been able to customize and create websites to my desire and to the liking that I need. Included with it, they give you some of the best customer service in the business, and I cannot say enough about them. They have been able to be a great assistance to everything I do. And if you guys want to be able to start today at $4.95 per month, go to the link in the bio or the link in the caption, depending on where you're at, and go use it to help the show and get your site up right away. There's no reason that you need to be having complications, that you need to be paying thousands of dollars to be able to do it, or even thousands of dollars per month to be able to get your website up. Go to Green Geeks, check it out, support the show. All right, let's get you back. I'm going to let you get back to the show. I hope you guys are in.
All right, y'all. We are in the final moments. I want to say thank you guys so much for taking the time to just be able to listen, to be able to be part of this. Really means the most. I enjoy talking rugby with y'all. You guys make it absolutely fun to be able to do it. Y'all, I want you guys to definitely, if you can, check out some of our past episodes. Obviously, we're going to try and do a lot to cover the Olympics as they come. So maybe the next few weeks, we might be just solely Olympic stuff as we get closer. But again, this is great. And of course, if you guys want to see some of our closer conversation we have with people, check out some of our interviews in the past with like Nia Tapper, Charity Williams, Blaine Scully, and a slew of other players, Chetta Emba, former and current Olympians, and that have made it through. So I want to thank you so much for that. And then, of course, guys, please, if you can, please share it with your friends. Let them know that if they are interested in being able to keep up with rugby news, keep up with what's happening, definitely check us out. And I definitely always appreciate the support that you guys are able to give and the love that's always provided. So in the meantime, I want you to know that I hope that you are happy. I hope that you are healthy. And most importantly, I hope that you know that you are highly favored. Until next time, cheers.